Shalom Israel, it's your IG militia coming at you live with a new edition of Hebrew Tribes channel. First off and foremost, all glory, honor, and praise to the Most High King, the power of Israel, the Creator, Ahaya Shar, Ahaya, the I am that I am of Exodus 3 and 14. Through the name Yasha, Yeshaya, my Savior, that's Matthew 21 and 9. They called him Hosanna. Through the Holy Spirit, Kakamawa, wisdom, which is Proverbs 8 and 9 and 1. Peace and blessings, family. Got a quick one for you right here. We're going to shoot through this one because I've seen too much drama behind it, too much arguing behind it, too much bickering behind it. And I'm just going to state my piece in it. Okay. This is dealing with the chicken, dealing with the poultry, dealing with the eggs, dealing with as far as the files go in the meat. And we're going to cover some other things as we go through this. But I would like for y'all to ride in there with me. We're going to get this done. And peace and blessings to the family. I'm not trying to change your mind if you decide to be vegan. I'm not trying to change your mind if you decide to be vegetarian. However, we're going to break this thing down by the scriptures as far as what the Most High says and what we can and what we can't eat. And then we'll get into the history and everything else and the dietary uh, dietitians of today and more so on that note. But let's get it started. So let me start with the introduction. Ezekiel 4 and 13. And Ahiah said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them. So this is the bread. This is talking about food. This is part of the curses. There's also a verse where it says that the air, the land, the water is defiled. Everything is defiled. Now, I'm going to get on some of these Hebrews running around with false doctrine, but for the Christians that use this verse and say, hey, well, I can eat the shrimp, the crab, and the po' boy and everything else because everything is defiled. Nothing is pure as it's supposed to be. Well, just because nothing is pure as it's supposed to be doesn't mean you can just eat abominations or eat unclean. That's not what that verse is saying. That verse is saying because the children of Israel fell, that part of that curse was they'll be driven to places where they'll be among the Gentiles eating the unclean bread. We got to go to the Gentiles in need of everything. In need of that water, need of food and drink. So going forward, okay, Titus 1 and 15 through 16. Unto the pure all things are pure, but unto them that are defiled and unbelieving is nothing pure. So some of these super vegan brothers that come into the truth talking about meat is evil, that some of these super, oh, I eat everything that's, made over here, and I make sure I got a garden over here, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. All praises that you looking at your diet and you're doing everything. But to sit here and say that the Most High's law is impure, what we're supposed to live by is impure, brother. That is a doctrine of devils. That's what that is. For you brothers and sisters talking about meat is evil, that is a doctrine of devils that you need to repent from immediately. Okay? And I speak the truth to y'all with that. From Old Testament to New Testament, I can show you, and I'm going to show you, that's not what it's saying. The unclean meats are unlawful, the pig and the pork and the crab legs and stuff like that and the shrimp. But that doesn't mean all meat is. And if veganism and vegetarian stuff works for you, by all means, or if you just want to be a person that eats fish, so be it. But we're going to cover it more as we go on. So it says, but even their mind and conscience is defiled. They profess that they know Ahia, but in works they deny him. You're denying him in your works. How can you say you know him and then sit around and twist scriptures when y'all say Yasha ate fish when he came back? Well, that was different because it was cold-blooded. What does that got to do with anything? He ate the fish. He told them to prepare the Passover. So now you're saying Yasha told his disciples to sin. So the Son of Man that came to save Israel from sin sent them off to sin. You see what I'm saying? Just say you want to be vegan and it works for you and why it works for you and stick with that. But in works, they deny him. You're denying him when you say that. Being abominable and disobedient to every good word, reprobate. That is a reprobate mind. Or at least the aspects of a reprobate mind. So we're not dealing with, everything is bad. We know everything is unclean, quote unquote, because of the powers that we live under and how they're operating. However, following the Most High's dietary law to the best of your ability and knowledge is your life. This is your life. Part of what you eat and you ingest is your life. Okay? So let's not, you got on one hand saying you can eat anything, and you got other people on the other hand saying you can't eat nothing. You both are wrong. That's why I say follow the word straight. Don't go to the left or to the right. Just follow it straight. Do what you can do. Okay? Because nothing's 100%. So part one. So this is the first time I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna ask questions in each section. And in each section, I'm gonna answer those questions. So let's get it started. Part one, are fowls or birds okay to eat, or are all fowl birds unclean? This is something that some people push, that all fowls are unclean, or push that some clean fowls are also unclean. We're going to see what the word says. Leviticus 7:26. Moreover, you shall eat no manner of blood, whether it be of fowl or beast, in any of your dwellings. So the Most High says right there, you can eat fowl or beast, but you can't eat blood. And so he's saying right there, eating fowl or birds is okay. Let's see. It is okay to eat clean birds, but just not as with the beast of the earth. We are not supposed to eat it with blood, i.e. undercooked. And you for sure can't eat birds are undercooked. You shouldn't even eat steaks and stuff like that undercooked, according to the law, and it's not good for your health. This is why when you go to a restaurant and they serve raw food, they have to tell you about it, because you're not supposed to do it. It's not good for you. We can get it in Leviticus 7:13. And whatsoever man there be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers of it that sojourn among you, which hunteth with, and whatsoever man there be, or of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn among you, which hunteth and catcheth any beast or fowl that may be eaten, he shall even pour out the blood thereof and cover it with dust. So again, we're not supposed to deal with the blood. We're not supposed to be eating raw, rare, medium rare, well done. That doesn't mean it has to be like a piece of wood. You can keep some juiciness in there, some flavor in there, but you're not supposed to have no blood in there. You're not supposed to be trying to have no pink and red in there. They need to be cooked through. Okay. Another precept to show and prove that there are in fact more fowls or birds that may be eaten. Okay, so he's telling us again here in Genesis 7:2-3, of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens, the male and his female; of the beasts that are not clean, by two, the male and his female; of fowls also of the air by sevens. So what did he say take the clean by? He said to take the clean by sevens. So he said the fowls you can take by sevens. The male and the female to keep seed alive upon the face of the earth. This is in Noah's day, when Noah was boarding the ark. And you go to any old writing, any ancient script, there's evidence of a flood, even in archaeology. So that's a whole nother subject. I'm not going into that, but you got to understand, how did everything survive the flood? Everything, it was people there, it was animals there. How did they survive? They have a story about this. They found Noah's Ark. You dig what I'm saying, Israel? Okay? And we got clean beasts and unclean beasts. So even before the flood, the Most High had made a division between the clean and unclean fowls. He said there's some clean ones 7 by 7. I think he called it out for a reason. He called it out for a reason. He called these meats being clean out for a reason, to expose some of the spirits that's on some of these brothers and sisters. Okay? And I hope that they repent. This ain't to bash you. Hope you brothers repent, because this is when people look at our movement, our walk, our awakening, and they see all these different winds of doctrine, which there's 33,000 sects of Christianity. But it's just the fact that we're supposed to have the truth. We need to adhere to it. What's the truth? The word, what he says, his law, and the testimony of Yahshua. Deuteronomy 14:11-20. This is the nail in the coffin. Of all clean birds ye shall eat. Verse 20. But of all clean fowls ye may eat. So when this is what I'm talking about, Israel. When these brothers and sisters is coming up to you, this is from my newcomers, because I really should have been put this out. I apologize to y'all because this is a light I feel like I've been holding under a blanket. This is a candle I've been holding under a blanket. I should have been told y'all this, but this is stuff I put in my notes when people say, "Hey, this ain't right," or "You heard about this," and I'll have notes. You know what I'm saying? And I'll deliver them and I'll talk with people, but I had to realize, like, no, I need to give this to y'all. Y'all need to hear this. Y'all need to hear this. Okay? And we're gonna break it all the way down and rightly divide the word of truth. So 577 oath, okay, and it's flying creatures, and you see there birds, fowl, wing, and wings, okay. So from the Brown Driver Briggs, you see here it also talks about insects. Now I'm not saying you have to eat any of these things. I'm just saying what the word says that we can do, okay. So you see it has fowl, birds, it has, talks about in Genesis, talks about for food, Psalm 78 and 27. You can screenshot this. This is also in the Strong's, the winged insects. So believe it or not, family, and shout out to my sister Solo who brought this out to my attention that locusts, and there's some place where they eat locusts. Locust is actually lawful, okay? Um, in the exhaustive concordance, it says bird that flieth, flying fowl, continually or collectively, bird that flieth, a flying fowl. Okay, so we have clean and we have unclean. So as we seen from section 1, that we have unclean birds and you have clean birds. Okay, you have clean fowl and you have unclean fowl. So let's get to section 2 here. Okay, where we're going to be talking about the unclean fowls according to the Hebraic law. So we know that we have clean and unclean. Next question are, what birds are clean and unclean? Okay, especially what are the unclean ones, so that we can present ourselves as a living sacrifice, right? We don't want to defile our temples, correct? Leviticus 11:13 through 24. So this is going to be a long one, but ride with me, family, because we're going to break this down like a 12-gauge shotgun. Verse 13, and these are they which ye shall have an abomination among the fowls. They shall not be eaten. They are an abomination, the eagle, the ossifrage, and the osprey. So the eagle, let's get it. Hebrew Strong 5404, Nesher, it says an eagle. Okay, an eagle, large bird of prey. This is in the Strong's exhaustive concordance. The next one we have is Hebrew Strong number 6538, Perez. Okay, Perez. Again, a bird of prey, perhaps a bearded vulture. So these are birds of prey. Pay attention to the I should say, the way in which the Most High classifies these birds. Okay, let's get to the next one. The next one was the osprey. It's Ozina. Okay, Ozina. It says perhaps a vulture, a bird of prey. In the Strong's Exhaustive Concordance, it says actually a sea eagle. Okay, so let's go to verse 14. Another unclean bird, and the vulture and the kite after its kind. So let's get to the eye. Okay, the eye. This is the vulture. This is it says perhaps a kite, but bird of prey. This is Hebrew Strong 344. Aya. Okay, Aya or Aya. This is a hawk, a falcon, a kite, a vulture, okay? So these are birds of prey, family. These are birds of prey. Let's get to it. Verse 15, every raven after his kind. This is Hebrew Strong 6158, a raven, okay? Y'all know what a raven is, okay? A raven is an unclean bird. You see, in a lot of these birds you'll see in horror movies. You'll see them eating carcasses and stuff like that. We're not supposed to be dealing with these birds as far as eating them, okay? Let's get the next one. And the owl, the nighthawk, and the cuckow, and the hawk after his kind. It's verse 16. So this is Hebrew Strong 1323, Bob. And I know it means daughter, but in certain verses it's talking about apple of the eye, branch, company, but in this specific verse it's meaning owl. Okay, the owl. All right, the next one, the nighthawk, or the cacao, I should say. Because you should know what a hawk is. This is Tachmas, and excuse me if I'm mispronouncing these. Hebrew isn't my strong point, but I know what it says. You dig what I'm saying? Our pronunciation ain't my strong point. But this is the male ostrich, okay? So we're not supposed to be eating the ostrich. You know, Kevin Hart had the joke about the ostrich. We ain't supposed to be dealing with the ostrich. That shouldn't even be a bird you should even look at as one to deal with anyway. To be completely honest with you. Shakapaf, okay? Or shakaf. This is a sea mew or a goal, okay? This is what they call a cookout in the verse, okay? This is Hebrew Strong 7828. Okay, so we're not supposed to be eating the seagull, okay? Verse 17, and the little owl and the cormorant and the great owl. So you know what an owl is. Let's get to the cormorant, okay? This is a bird of prey, usually thought to be the pelican, okay, or the cormorant. And you can look all these birds up. These are the birds Adam named in Genesis, okay? These are the same fowl, okay, that our forefather named. Okay, verse 18, and the swan and the pelican and the gear eagle. So you see here, it says Rakam or Rakama. It's talking about a carrion vulture. So this is Hebrew Strong 7360. Okay, so just the pause right here. This is talking about carrion vultures, vultures of prey, or birds of prey rather. And this is interesting, y'all. Earlier I talked with my brother Marty, and as I'm speaking with him, he just called out of nowhere. We just got to talking, and we got to talking about this, which was a part of the motivation, glory to the Father, that made me want to do this lesson. And as we're talking, and I work in, you know, a kind of industrial complex, one of my workers come and get me. He's like, hey man, there's a bird out by your car, and it was like a puddle of water, and a chicken hawk was sitting right by my car, and it was by the water just looking around, and it was like looking in my direction, and it was just looking back and forth, but it was looking around the water, but it was looking like into the building where I was. And I've never seen that. Don't get me wrong, you know, where I stay is kind of the outskirts of town, so you see big birds, you'll see vultures, you'll see eagles, you know what I'm saying, you'll see hawks, but to see it early like that and to see it fly right there as my brother is talking to me about this, as we're having this discussion, what are the chances, family? You know I don't believe in coincidence. So all these are birds of prey, okay? Let's keep it moving. And the stork and the heron after her kind, and the lapwing and the bat. So this is again talking about the egret. This is Hebrew Strong 601, Anafa. Okay, this is the heron, and this is Dukipa. Okay, this is the lapwing, and you know, it's, you see he's talking about the lapwing. So you can look all these things up. It's saying that they're unclean birds. That's Hebrew Strong 1744. We go now to verse 20. This is where I want to touch, because this is where I seen some of that false doctrine rear its ugly head. Okay, as we continue here, verse 20. All fowls that creep going upon all four shall be an abomination to you. Fowls that creep going upon all four should be an abomination to you. So what is that talking about, family? It's talking about a bat. Okay, let's get it. Hebrew Strong 5847. A talif, okay? A talif, a bat, okay? These are the things that crawl on all fours. I've seen brothers post memes in Hebrew groups. Well, they'll have a bat on the left side crawling on all fours, and then they'll have the leg of a chicken with four toes and say, look, it's going on all fours. This is why you don't need to eat it. That is incorrect doctrine. That does not, it didn't say four toes. It said all fours, okay? Shall be an abomination to you, okay? But it says here in verse 21, yet these may ye eat of every flying, creeping thing that goeth on all fours, which have legs above their feet to leap withal upon the earth. So it's talking about the locust here, okay? It says, even of these, them ye may eat, the locust after his kind, the bald locust after his kind, and the beetle after, his kind, and the grasshopper after his kind. When it's talking about beetle, it's talking about CHARGOL. This is Hebrew Strong 2728, okay? Original word right there, you see, it's talking about a kind of locust. So it's not talking about an actual beetle. I don't want to see you brothers, you know, eating carpet beetles out there. You know what I'm saying? Times should never get that bad. Okay, and I got a link, you know, for the chargol there. But it says in verse 23, but all other flying creeping things which have 4 feet shall be an abomination to you, and for these ye shall be unclean. Whosoever touches the carcass of them shall be unclean until the even, and whosoever beareth out of the carcass of them shall wash his clothes and be unclean until even. So again, you shouldn't be touching these animals' carcasses. If you do, you're just unclean till even, but you shouldn't be eating them. That's number 1. Okay. So it goes into the things that we can eat and the things that we can't eat, right? So the birds that we're allowed to eat by Hebraic law are the domesticated birds that do not fit into the category of the unclean fowl. So the geese, the duck, things with webbed feet, these are unclean to you, okay? These things, these seagulls, they're unclean to you. If it has webbed feet, it's unclean to you, okay? These other birds, sparrows and stuff like that, ravens, these are unclean to you. We should be eating poultry, domesticated fowl. We're going to go more into a type of domesticated fowl. Let me see. The galliform birds are sometimes called the chicken-like birds. This group includes the ancestors of domesticated chickens called fowl, as well as pheasants, quails, turkey, and many other similar kinds of birds. This is from the University of Michigan, okay? And it's from a link. I have it there for BioKIDS, okay? So let's go to Numbers, okay? 11 and 31. We're going to discuss the quail. We have brothers that like to eat quail. Quail is a clean bird. This is a clean fowl, okay? And there went forth a wind from the Most High, and brought quails from the sea, and let them fall by the camp, as it were a day's journey on this side, and as it were a day's journey on the other side, round about the camp, as it were 2 cubits high upon the face of the earth. So we're talking about probably roughly cubit. I think that's what 1.5 meters. So we're talking about roughly 3 meters, maybe a little bit more than a yard high of quail. So because the people were complaining because he was feeding them with manna from heaven, and you know how our folk be. Oh, manna again, tired of this manna coming out my nose. So the Most High, being the gracious Father he is, he sent the quail. Okay, let's get to it. The Strong's Exhaustive Concordance for quail. Okay, 7958 Salav. Okay, and it says here a variation from Shalad through the idea of sluggishness, the quail, because it's slow in flight from its weight. Okay, so let's read the next 2 verses, 32. Well, the next 3 verses, 32 through 34. And the people stood up all that day and all that night and all the next day, and they gathered the quails. He that gathered least 10 homers, and they spread them all abroad for themselves round about the camp. So they divided it up. It's a day's worth. I mean, that's a lot of quail he gave them, right? On each side. So, and while the flesh was yet between their teeth, ere it was true, the wrath of Ahiah was kindled against the people, and Ahiah smote the people with a very great plague. And he called the name of that place Kibroth-Hattaavah, because there they buried the people that lusted. So people would say, some of these unlearned brews that want to teach would say, hey, this is why we shouldn't eat meat, especially quail or whatever, because when we ate it, we were hit with a plague. That is incorrect information. It wasn't the fact that people were eating it, it's the fact that they were lusting over it. They were being gluttons for it. You seen how much quail it was? We're talking about a yard high and a day long trip all around the camp. Man, these people they were gathering 10 to themselves. You know how our people get. Look at 600-pound life. Okay? This is what they was doing out there. The Most High seen it fit to give the people meat. They've been eating that manna out there, and they asked the request. He didn't have to grant it. He granted it, and they acted a fool with it. How do you feel as parents, or maybe you were in a relationship once, and you're doing everything you can for this person, and they may have a request of you, and you've already done your part, and you say, you know what, I'm gonna go the extra mile, and I'm gonna do something extra special for them. and you maybe have them a big banquet, or you throw them a big party, or you buy them a great gift that they've been asking about, and you give it to them, you present to them, they're like, well, I guess you did your best. This is how the Most High felt. Okay, so they were plagued for their gluttonous greed. Gluttony is a sin. So it's a seldom talked about sin, but it is a sin. It is a sin. Okay, and there's a reason why there's a food commercial on every 5 minutes. There's a reason. Okay, so let's get to the verses about that, so you don't just think it's me just telling you that. Sirach or Ecclesiasticus 37:29 through 31. Be not unsatiable in any dainty thing, nor too greedy upon meats, for excess of meats bringeth sickness, and surfeiting will turn into choler. Choler is diarrhea. By surfeiting many have perished, but he that taketh heed prolongeth his life. It's saying the Most High is cool with you eating meats, because he wouldn't have gave him the quail. He wouldn't tell you to keep Passover. He wouldn't have clean and unclean meats if it wasn't cool, if he wasn't cool with it. Okay. See, but if all you're eating is meats, though, if you're eating a beef bacon, beef burger, then you're turning around and you're eating a steak, then you're turning around, you're eating chicken wings, then you're turning around and you're eating, I don't know, lamb chops, that's too much meat, man. That's too much. That's being gluttonous. Now you're being a glutton. You don't need to be doing all that. It's not good for your body. And yes, there has been times when I caught myself slipping. I ate a steak, then I go out somewhere with some friends and they order this and I'm eating that, and it'll hit me afterwards. Oh man, I'm eating too heavy. And now I got that chola. I ain't trying to go in detail, but I got the chola. I got the diarrhea. You know what I'm saying? The upset stomach, the whole Pepto-Bismol dance. But I realized it though, and I don't do that. Really, I try to get myself trying to stay with one meal a day. Couple snacks in between, things like that, light stuff. But that's just me. A lot of people are on that though. But let's get it in the next verse. So just to show what I'm talking about, as they were lusting upon the meats, we shouldn't be doing that. And even if you're not lusting upon meats, I done seen vegans eat big old plates of potatoes or chips or stuff that's vegan, peanut. I'm talking about just, you're still being a glutton, man. Everything has to be in decency and order, family. So Ecclesiasticus 31:12, if thou sit at a bountiful table, be not greedy upon it, and say not there is much meat on it. Okay. Psalm 78:18, and they tempted the Most High in their heart by asking meat for their lust. They didn't appreciate it. They lusted over it. They weren't trying to have it portioned out and just eat enough to where there's a thing, eat to survive. You know what I'm saying? Don't survive to eat. Deuteronomy 21:20, and they shall say unto the elders of this city, this is from the law, y'all, from the Torah, this our son is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey our voice. He is a glutton and a drunkard. So again, gluttony, he sees it the same way as being a drunkard, because you can't just sip a little bit of wine. You got to go overboard and be a whole drunkard, a whole wino out here. Okay, it's a sin. Sin. Let's get it. Proverbs 23:2, and put a knife to thy throat if thou be a man given to appetite. Now he ain't saying to do it literally. That's hyperbole. Okay, it's exaggerating, but it's the truth. Okay, don't cut back from eating so much. Don't be a glutton. Let's get to another Proverbs 23:20. Be not among wine bibbers, among riotous eaters of flesh. So again, he's saying don't just be insatiable upon this stuff where you just can't get enough. Okay, this is what he's saying. So people got to realize you got to rightly divide the word of truth. He's telling you to do things in reason. Okay, just like Christ made wine at the buffet. He didn't make it for people to get drunk. Okay, he put these things on earth for us to enjoy. Too much of anything is bad for you. If you drink too much water, you can die. There's something to think about. Okay, so let's get to the Phasianidae, the bird family. It's the pheasant family, a bird family. The order is Galliformes, that includes among its members the jungle fowl, from which the domestic chicken is descended. Okay, the partridge, the peacock, the pheasant, the quail, also the jucar, the partridge, the francolins, the manal, maybe known as game birds. Okay, you got to be careful with game birds because they'll throw duck in there and all that. That's unclean. But the ones I have here, these are clean birds. These are clean birds according to the Torah. We get right here to Melagridae. Okay, and this is North American birds. It's an order of the Galliforms, the birds I just read. Those clean game birds. It says that that comprise the turkeys and a few extinct related birds, and are sometimes placed in the subfamily of the Phasianidae. So these birds are clean birds. These are fowl. These are the poultry that the Most High has created. These are in the same family as the quail. That's how they're classified. Okay, and we're gonna get more into that. They're descendants of the jungle fowl. So let's read. Jungle fowl. Any of 4 Asian birds of the genus Gallus, family Phasianidae, other galliforms. For Australian jungle fowl, see megapode. Gallus species differ from other members of the pheasant family in having in the male a fleshy comb, low wattles hanging low below the bill, and high arched tail. So this is where you see like the roosters, for example. Okay, so it's telling you who these birds belong to. Are you following me, family? Okay, the red jungle fowl, G. Gallus, is the ancestor of the domestic fowl. So, and I understand what brothers and sisters say when they don't want to eat meat or they don't want to eat poultry or whatnot. I understand what you're saying, because I'll say this, family, to their credit, is that don't eat fast food meat. You shouldn't be eating fast food, no KFC, no Popeyes, no McDonald's, none of the Burger King, none of that stuff. That stuff isn't real meat. None of it, even the beef. I'm talking about the beef and the chicken. It's not real. Okay. There's videos online they tried to take down. I'm scared to kind of show y'all some of these videos because the company looks to take this stuff down because they know eventually if this stuff rests on people's conscience, people ain't gonna eat it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not real. You dig what I'm saying? And I understand also, to their credit, they are putting hormones in some of these animals. They are making them exacerbating their growth, making them big and large so that they can sell more meat, get more money. Again, money's the bottom line, and that you shouldn't be dealing with that either. Okay, you should be dealing with some antibiotic free something. I can say here in Texas, we got a store called HEB. We got some other stores. HEB will have the place in the state where it came from. It might have Colleen on there, or it might have San Marcos, or it might have Midland or something, and it'll have the name of the farm where it's on there. Okay, so we won't be shopping at Walmart and corporate places like that, like Costco. You know what I'm saying? It's just something to think about. The local markets is better. Okay, because usually they're not doing all this craziness. And another third credit I will give them what they are correct on is that they are also making lab meat, and a lot of these are coming through those corporations like Walmart and stuff like that. I would advise you not to deal with that, even though it's meant to look like it's clean as good. It's actually not. Okay, that when they talk about that, family, they are correct in that. You should be trying to get something local, something homegrown, antibiotic free. Okay, but another case is when they're locally grown and grown the right way, and I should say raised the right way. They're not going to have them out there eating anything. You know what I'm saying? Just like they might have cows eating anything. They had chickens out there eating anything. They have a certain feed that they're supposed to give them. Let the cows graze in a land where it's clean and it's pure. You know what I'm saying? Not supposed to just be feeding them anything just to get them fat and just feeding them meal and stuff that's GMO engineered because it'll produce more money for them. Okay, not supposed to be doing that. You dig what I'm saying, Israel? So with that being said, they do have a credit there. However, I couldn't use that. I cannot use that to justify not eating it at all. Because if we're going to use that same logic, we got to use that same logic with the fruits. When they spray pesticides and these chemicals on the fruits to kill them, they're out there in full hazmat. That's a hazmat uniform. I work with chemicals, okay? When you're face covered, helmet on, you got the stuff on, you got there spraying. That's hazmat. That means you're spraying a chemical. And nutritionists will tell you, once that chemical enters the fruits or the vegetables or whatever, no matter how much pesticide wash you have, pesticide be gone wash you have, that stuff stays in it. They might as well just inject it in there with a syringe. Okay, so that's technically, if you're gonna say talking about chemicals in that, so do your fruits and vegetables. Do I think most of them are seedless? But I'm not even gonna go down that path. But that's what I'm saying to you, family. You got to do the best you can with what you can. Try to buy the stuff with the seeds. Try to get it locally grown. Try to get it to where it doesn't have antibiotics and other GMO engineered objects that was engineered in it or with it. Okay, do you understand? That's what I'm trying to say. So let's get to it though. It doesn't make the animal unclean. It makes what man does to it unclean, if that makes sense to y'all. Okay, so poultry in animal husbandry, birds raised commercially or domestically for meat, eggs, and feathers. Chickens, which are clean, duck, turkeys, clean, and geese, are primary commercial importance, while guinea fowl and squabs are chiefly of local interest. Based on the number of animals, poultry represent the largest domestic animal stock in the world, and poultry meat was the fastest growing component of global meat production in the early 21st century. Poultry meat and eggs provide affordable, high quality protein. So this is a good source of protein, family. They are correct when they say that. Poultry farming, especially on a small scale, is renewable and efficient and can provide a ready source of income and nutrition. Okay, so with that being said, let's move to part 3. And I'm gonna have all these links and stuff in the description box. Okay, so all these facts and sources are gonna be there, and of course you can run the video back and take screenshots or look this stuff up. So part 3, the chicken or the egg, because with them condemning the chicken, they also condemn the egg. No pun intended. There has been some talk that eggs are also not good to eat and they should be avoided. But what does the scripture say? So let's read Luke 11:12. If a son shall ask bread of any of you that is a father, and it goes on, talks about if a son asks you this, would you give him that? And then in verse 12 it says, or if he shall ask an egg, will he offer him a scorpion? So why is your son asking for an egg? Why is that in that parable or in that proverb right here in the book of Luke? Why would he ask for an egg? What, do you want to juggle with it? You got to ask these kind of questions. Okay, it's real simple. Let's go to Job. Let's go to the Old Testament and see if this lines up with what I'm pitching to you. Job 6:6. Can that which is unsavory be eaten without salt? Or is there any taste in the white of an egg? Are eggs bad? Not if they come from a clean animal, family. Let's keep reading. This is from the law. Deuteronomy 22:6. If a bird's nest chance to be before thee in the way in any tree or on the ground, whether they be young ones or eggs, and the dam or the mother sitting upon the young or upon the eggs, thou shalt not take the dam with the young. So you shouldn't take the mother with the young. Okay, this is what it's talking about when somebody's trying to get some eggs. And also, just to go on top of that, people also had birds as pets back then too. Okay, so birds were also a pet. Okay, so let's go to now part 4. Is poultry or fowl, chicken healthy? This is another question. Is it healthy? Because for a while they said pork was the other white meat, saying chicken was the white meat. See, pork is unclean. You got to watch when they try to, because they'll tell you truth and try to slip in lies. When you're looking this stuff up, they'll try to say things about pork or whatever. But we're going to break it down to the last molecule. So it says here, when it comes to the healthiest meats that pack the biggest nutritional punch, turkey and chicken should be at the top of your grocery list, says Schiff. Both are about equal in terms of nutrition, with turkey tending to be leaner than chicken. And I can say this is true. Like I said, with elders in my family, eating all them unclean foods all their life, not exercising, working out, the fitness thing. When they finally got to a point where they seen the doctor would tell them like, hey, you know, you need to eat these foods. This is what you need to eat. Instead of fried, do baked. And turkey was one of the things he would say. Okay, and that comes from the healthiest meats you can eat, and this from a dietitian, the brother chef there. And that's from the Norwell Education. Okay, from the well at norwell.edu. So let's see here, chicken is far lower in saturated fat, the most harmful kind, than most red meat. So this is why a lot of people will diet and they'll cut out red meat. And red meat is good. Like I said, as far as it's coming from beef, that's good. You know, deer, that stuff is good. It's clean, I should say. You know, it's good. The most I made it to be eaten. It says a 3-ounce serving has 25.9 grams of protein along with essential amino acids, iron, and niacin. These help with cell growth and metabolism. So this is from the Meat You Eat, What's Good for You from WebMD. Okay, and then these are just two. There are many sites that said the exact same thing. I just picked out 2 of them. Okay, so let's get to part 5. Bird symbolism in the scripture, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm giving you a 360 of this, family, because what people will do, as I've spoken before, they'll give you one verse about birds where the Most High is saying, I'm gonna kill a bird, I'm gonna kill all the birds, or birds are gonna eat your carcass. And they'll be like, see, that's why you shouldn't eat birds. People like, you know, new people in the truth be like, oh man, I ain't know birds ate our carcass. Yeah, man, we shouldn't, you know, these people and I pray if they're doing it ignorantly that they repent, stop, and look at what they're saying, what they're putting out there. Okay. And if they're doing it maliciously, I pray that those that are new in the truth, are those with the spirit of discernment, learn to stray from them brothers and sisters, especially them brothers. You know you ain't right if you speaking against me and all of it being unclean. I shouldn't even have to be saying this. You know how many people I had to coach back from the brink that was ready to throw their whole refrigerator out, family, stuff that they done bought for their wife and kids because of y'all false doctrine, man. And I'm not, you know, I forgive you, man, but this got this, and you know, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. I'm speaking to the people that's listening to them. Ask the Most High for discernment, man. So we're gonna read the verses that some are good about the birds, some are bad about the birds, and some are ugly. But we're gonna read it in context. This is again a lot of so-called believers across the board miss out on rightfully dividing the truth. And I'm especially ashamed at Israel, you Hebrews out there who are unrighteously not dividing the word of truth. We're going to take the whole Bible. I don't want a piece of it. I got a piece of it back when I was growing up in the church. I didn't have one of those pastors that actually risked his neck and went out there and told us. He told us what we wanted to hear. And that's my fault for not reading, you know. But, you know, I was a babe then. But as a child, I thought I was a child. I'm a man. I'm going to present as a man. We're going to read the whole book. Okay, the whole book. Christ come in the volume of the book. That's the way to salvation. He was the way. We're going to read the whole way. We ain't no halfway bruise over here. So Isaiah 10 and 14. And my hand hath found as a nest the riches of the people, and as one gathereth eggs that are left, have I gathered all the earth. So why would one gather eggs? Just to look at them? And I've asked people this, like, well, I'm showing them these verses. This is years ago when they were saying that stuff. I'm like, well, what were they doing it for? They couldn't answer. Oh, they were just gathering them. That was just something our people did. For what? So we gather eggs while we just sitting. Well, they should never get you niggas internet, man. Let's keep it moving. All the earth, and there was none that moved the wing or opened the mouth or peeped. So the Most High talks about gathering, and he has a verse like they talking about, like, as a hen gathereth her young. That's how he gonna gather us, being Israel. Genesis 8 and 11. And the dove came into him in the evening, and lo, in her mouth was an olive leaf plucked off. So Noah knew that the waters were abated from off the earth. So Noah sent off a dove. Dove came back with the leaf plucked. So you might see that as an offering of peace. They'll have the Gentiles will use that symbolism in different churches and different things like that. That's where it came from Noah. When Noah realized that the earth was no longer flooded, and his family can go and live. Proverbs 6 and 5. So you know that these are verses where it was good. So Proverbs 6 and 5. Deliver thyself as a roe from the hand of the hunter. Why would the hunter be hunting a roe? A roe is a deer, by the way. Okay. And as a bird from the hand of the fowler. A fowler is a hunter of birds. What is he hunting birds for? I mean, this is why Paul was talking about it's a simplicity in Christ. It's a simplicity in understanding this word. Did we go deep into it and see some deep things? Of course we did. But the overall principles, it ain't all that deep. It's do right, do wrong, rightly dividing it. Like, do you have every day? Do you have, is it a good day every day? Do you have, is it a bad day? But overall, you can discern how you're gonna move because you're trying to do the right thing. That's all he asks of us, and we do the right thing by knowing what he wrote. So again, the bird from the hand of the fowler. He's saying to deliver thyself, because we got to deliver ourselves. This is part of you working out your own salvation. Don't wait for brother, sister, bishop, pastor, elder in your camps. No, this is for you to work out. And I ain't got nothing against the camps. Okay, nothing against them. But if the doctrine is wrong, that's what I got a problem with. I don't understand why people can't understand that. I have a problem with the doctrine. I have no problem with y'all meeting and linking together. I'm not no hater. Jeremiah 12 and 9. Mine heritage is unto me as a speckled bird. The birds round about are against her. Come ye, assemble all beasts of the field, come to devour. So the Most High is talking about us being Israel, that we're a speckled bird. We use this a lot in the truth when people say, oh, well, you know, they're a little light, they can't be Israel. They're a little dark, they can't be Israel. Or he's black, but is he, you know, is he Israelite? And you got to look at the curses. Do your forefathers fit the curses of Deuteronomy 28? Deuteronomy 28 isn't unique to America only, though America did go the hardest with it in the you know, present time. This happened all over the world. That's why I said we're in the four corners. So it isn't just America, but we're all going to look different, especially because a lot of brothers and sisters was mixed. Look at the Sicilians. It's the reason why they're dark. They were messing with the Moors. Why they ran the Moors out, because our genes are dominant. They were like, oh man, you got these people out of here. They're trying to, come on, look at them now. This is why they shut down the abortion clinics, family. They don't want the white women getting abortion. They was fine with you doing it. They don't want the white because their race is, they're going to be quote unquote minority. They're already minority, but they're going to be minority on the books in about what, 15 years. They know this. So again, but we're a speckled bird. We don't look the same. All of Israel don't look the same. You'll be surprised who's Israel, who's not Israel. Okay, you are what your father is. The father plants the seed. Ecclesiastes 9 and 12. For man also knoweth not his time, as the fishes that are taken in the evil net. Why are they fishes in the net? What are the fishes? What are the person using the net to catch the fish for? To consume, right? And as the birds that are caught in the snare, so are the sons of man snared in an evil time, when it falleth suddenly upon them. This is what happens. Excuse me. This is what happens, family. You got to hear your brother out on this one. This is what happens, okay? We are in an evil time. This is the bad part. We're in an evil time. We got to be vigilant and escape the snares of the enemy, the traps of the enemy. They call it a trap house. You know what I'm saying? They got people glorifying wickedness. It's not by mistake, okay? And again, he uses birds, okay? So let's get to Lamentations 3 and 52. We're going to get into the ugly. Mine enemies chase me sore like a bird without cause. Why would somebody be chasing a bird? You see what I'm saying, family? The Most High is the same across the board. You just got to have discernment and rightly divide it. Okay, last verse of the section here, Revelation 18 and 2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Every unclean and hateful bird. He's talking about Mystery Babylon, which this chapter describes the U.S. perfectly. a nation or a place that ruled over the entire world that was built by slaves. Oh, you got people saying, "Oh, that's not." Well, you'll figure it out soon enough. Okay, so you see here, some verses birds are good. Some verses he's saying it's what you got to do, and then some verses he's saying this is what it is on the prophecy side. So you got to write. What is he talking about? Family, I'm telling you, stop letting these brews just throw stuff at you and tell you these things. Okay, some of these niggas is unread and unlearned too. But you can be read and you can be learned and ask the Most High for discernment. Let's get to the conclusion. Hebrews 13:9. Be not carried about with diverse and strange doctrines. Stick to the rivers and lakes that you know. You chasing waterfalls. For it is a good thing that the heart be established with grace, not with meats, which have not profited them that have been occupied therein. Because you got the milk, and then you got the meats. The milk is the law. The milk is the Proverbs, the Psalms, the early understandings, the Genesis, the creation. The 12 tribes, as far as Jacob and what he went through in Egypt with his brothers. That's the milk. That's the beginning. That's what you learn, in the gospel and why Christ came and everything. The meat is the more meatier aspects of it. What are the Hebrew traditions? What are the holy days? What are they really about? What do some of these Hebrew words mean? What does it mean when it's used in this way, that way? The prophecies. You dig what I'm saying? That's the meat. That's why people throw it up, because they still on milk. You like giving a 6-month-old a steak. They're not gonna be able to eat it. And these people haven't been profitable with the meats that they've been kicking to y'all, because you'll catch them saying one thing and saying another thing. Kemet brothers is known for this. These black woman is God brothers. They'll say one thing one day and say one thing next week. Sarnetta's famous for that. Not throwing him under the bus, but he under there. 1 Corinthians 3:2. I have fed you with milk and not with meat, for hitherto ye were not able to bear it, neither yet now are ye able. I got to give you the milk. We got to go back to the law. You got to go research your research. That's why I said study to show thyself approved. It didn't say, oh, just have faith, just pray. It says study to show thyself approved. Work out your own salvation. He has a list of things we got to do, including love thy neighbor. All that stuff is all encompassed. People just want to do one and say, I'm good. Some people going to be in for a rude awakening. That's why it says, fed you with milk, not with meat, because you ain't ready for the prophecies in the Hebrew Strongs. You ain't ready. You got to learn. You got to start at the beginning. And even some of us that are on the meat, sometimes we got to go back to the beginning. I go back and read the gospel. I go back and read Proverbs. I go back and read Genesis. Genesis 1. I'm talking about the beginning. I go back and read it plenty times. Still do to this day. Last Sabbath, me and my sons was reading. So let's get the last verse. Hebrews 5:12. Although by this time you ought to be teachers, ye need someone to reteach you the basic principles of a highest word. Ye need milk, not solid food. Didn't I just say that? Didn't I just say that? I go back to the milk. I'm not saying like, oh, I'm up here and you're done. I go back to the milk just to make sure that my ducks are in a row. No pun intended. You dig what I'm saying? This is what we have to do. I think a lot of it is pride. A lot of it is pride. But take this information, look into this information. I'm not telling you to be a glutton upon any of these meats, any of these things that I went over. I'm telling you to have understanding of it. I'm telling you to look into it. Look into where you're getting all of your food, even if you are vegan and you watch this, or vegetarian or what have you. If you're doing liquid fast or whatever, or you deal with water most of the day and drinks and slushes, that's cool too. I praise the Most High for all my people, all of y'all that's trying to get your health in order. Okay, watch out for these health and fitness gurus online telling you anything. Look up what kind of blood type you are and talk to your doctor about the diet. Do your diligence, okay? Because some diets ain't good for all people. Okay? Now, I'm just gonna leave it there because they'll take. I can't say nothing about health on here. You know, they'll. You know what it is. But with that being said, Shalom family, happy Feast of Trumpets. Go get the Watchman reports. Got it out on Bandcamp for free. And again, it's your Aunt G Militia signing off. Love you, Israel. Shalom.